Welcome to the Strong Parents Podcast with Kim
and Riki, supporting children by inspiring parents. Hi everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Strong Parents Podcast. We're going to be talking to your children about periods. That was a long title.
But
I'm talking about periods with your children. So we've actually just filmed some shorter videos, a little bit more practical information that are going on our online platform for young people to access. The ones that are actually going through starting their periods for the first time, just to kind of make the conversation hopefully a little bit more comfortable and put out some information that we know a lot of people find difficult to talk about.
Definitely, especially for girls who haven't had their period yet, and they know it's getting closer and closer, and the fear starts to grow and grow, and they're starting to hear stories from their friends who are getting it, and they're not really sure what's happening, and it can be quite overwhelming for them, and it's something that they don't often talk about as well, so they can have a lot of concerns or worries or questions or thoughts about it, and they actually don't verbalize that to anyone. So we wanted in these videos to start opening up and sharing a bit more about what our period is and ways that we can or different devices, I guess you could say, that you can use when you have your period, and to just really encourage the girls to get more comfortable with their own body and understanding their period.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the time of filming this video, we've had a lot of experience with young people, and up until now, sex education and I guess period awareness in schools is not always that comprehensive. No. I think schools still find that it's a bit of a tick box, and as long as they've kind of gone over the basics, they've kind of done their job. And so a lot of what young people are learning is outside of the curriculum, or so it might be in the school environment, but it's not in a biology lesson with a biology teacher or with a sex ed teacher or whatever it might be, and also outside of the school environment, so at home, either from friends or older siblings or parents. And the truth is too, Riki, just to jump in there, is that because it's in the school space, a lot of young people don't actually feel comfortable to ask the questions that they really want to know. So because it's a lot of them feel embarrassed because it's in that group setting with their peers. They kind of just take in whatever the teacher's saying and then run as fast as they can from that classroom. So they don't actually sit there a lot of the time asking those really deep personal questions because they don't feel comfortable in that setting. Yeah, and I think one of the main things that we've found over the years too is that parents are equally uncomfortable or embarrassed or unsure of how to start those conversations. So even though you might be, let's say, a mother of 3 who's been having periods for however many years and also had babies, there's still this idea of, I don't want to make my child feel embarrassed, or I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, and I don't really know what to say, so I'm kind of just going to not say anything unless they ask, or I'm going to try and then it's awkward, and then there's this whole kind of grey area around
too is that, I kind of go through the basics with her, and then I leave it at that, and if she wants to ask me something, she knows I'm there, but we don't sometimes, and this is just some of us, it's not everyone, but we don't sometimes probe those questions and really create that comfortable setting to go, hey, or even acknowledge that this might be hard for you to ask these questions, or you might be feeling uncomfortable. So I think the more comfortable we are, the more comfortable they're going to feel.
And I think not taking any discomfort or embarrassment from your child as personal.
Yes.
I think what's happening is a reflection for them, and my biggest bit of advice to parents would be from my own experience as a child, but also experience from talking with the young people, is that despite the fact that they may have reacted to their parent with embarrassment or been like, oh God, I wish that she wasn't talking about this, later on reflection, they're really glad their parent did. Because I was the same too. I would, oh no, oh God. And then actually thinking, oh, but I'm glad she did, because now I know what my friend's talking about. Or now at least I've had my mum mention this and I feel comfortable with it. So it's unfortunately one of those situations, one of the many, I guess, as a parent, that you kind of got to push through your own discomfort.
You're better
and go,
to be
at least
open.
I've got everything out there. Yeah. If she's embarrassed, whatever, I'll just leave it. But it's not a reflection on me as a parent. It's more just
And I think it's funny because we're living in a world where we're really aware of making our children feel uncomfortable or embarrassed, and as parents we tend to go, I don't want to embarrass her, I don't want to embarrass him, or all this sort of stuff. But in this kind of situation, it's kind of better if we do put it out there and they do get a bit embarrassed, and we give them more and more rather than pulling back from this kind of situation. So
but also I guess at the end of the day, what I think it would be really helpful to do is maybe even have a look at the videos that we've got on the online platform, because we actually go through a lot of the more detailed descriptions of things, and maybe you might get some ideas on how to actually have those conversations. And I know that we want to get a balance between not wanting to like gross our children out about sex and their bodies, but at the same time wanting them to be empowered with the knowledge, because knowledge is power, and it means they can make informed decisions. And so I know you parents at home are really trying to get the balance there, but at least that first conversation, if you're able to be like, look, here's this, and maybe you can even utilize our videos as a space to go, look, I've got this online login, go and have a look here, and then ask me any questions afterwards.
You can even watch the videos together, and that's really what the online space is about, is creating a common area where you can come together with your child and watch these videos, and we can kind of be the I guess that middleman that softens it a little bit for you and makes it a little less uncomfortable. So, you know, you can say, hey, what do you think Riki said, or what do you think of what Kim said, and kind of start those conversations going from there. But I also think the important thing is that this is something that we really encourage parents to do as an ongoing, I guess, conversation with their daughter. It's not just at that beginning stage where they're waiting for it to happen and they don't know what it's all about, and you kind of give them a whole heap of information and say, this is what's going to happen, and then you never talk about it. Then they get their period and you never talk about it ever again.
And can I jump in, because I think that's so important that you just said, because before they've experienced it, they're going to just get this heap of information and not retain hardly any of it, because they've not experienced it. So it's
and then they get them, and then all the questions start, but no one's talking about it.
I may have read that, but I can't remember.
Yes. And they might not feel comfortable to bring it up with you. So really take that initiative, and even once they've got their period each month, checking in with them, you know, even to the point with your daughter that, you know, helping her with her cycle and learning about her cycle and where she's at and how she's feeling and reactions she's having and things like that. Because the more you help her to understand her body and how her period's affecting her, the easier it's going to be for her. And it's a bonding activity for the two of you as well.
Totally.
So we really encourage you, if you've got any, I guess, uncomfortableness about, you know, talking about periods, which a lot of female adults do. A lot of us never were taught when we were younger. A lot of us went through that school uncomfortable situation, never wanted to talk about it again. So, you know, it can be a great learning opportunity for yourself as well to become more comfortable with something that's a part of all of our lives. So
absolutely. It's just another one of those hurdles that actually parents come to, and once they've sort of got over and stepped over that, something else that almost helps with our development and growth as adults too. I think a lot of the time people treat parents as if they know everything already, especially our own children or the own young people in our lives, and it can kind of lead us to becoming like forgetful of the fact that we are still learning too, and we are still developing all the time. And it's okay for our children to know that. It's okay for the young people in our lives to go, wow, like Riki hasn't got all the answers either. Yeah. And that's okay, because it means that it's acceptable for me to not have all the answers, and I'm not expected to know every single thing at every single stage of my life. So it's okay to be something to work through together. And it's also, I found as a really great piece of advice that I love to kind of use to help people feel a lot better or less nervous about having a conversation, is that it's okay to admit to your child or the child in your care that you're feeling uncomfortable too. So instead of saying, oh, this is really awkward, you can be like, look, I'm not really sure how to say, what to say, or what you might want to know. But just, you know, I go through this stuff all the time as well, every month, and I just really want to try, because I want you to feel empowered with all of the knowledge that you can.
Exactly. Yes.
It's okay to say that. We don't have to be like, well, I'm supposed to know everything, so I'm just going to pretend that I do. Like, it's okay to just say to your child, look, I'm just as awkward as you are, but let's just have a cup of tea and watch this video, or I'm going to just sit and talk to you about it, and let's go with it. So it's okay to bring a bit of humour and lightheartedness in there, you know?
That's it. I think we do take it, sometimes we can take this topic really seriously, like, I've got to do the period prep talk, and we need to have everything out ready to go, and, you know, I need to make sure I cover this and this and this, and it can be quite heavy, and sometimes that can make it even more embarrassing. So lighten it up, you know, take a little bit easier, and like we said, have perhaps, instead of having that one big discussion, have multiple little discussions where you're just touching on one thing at a time, so it's not quite so overwhelming. And you'll learn this in the videos as well, just if you watch the videos we've done, that it's really about helping your daughter to take the pressure off herself as well, and to understand that she doesn't have to know everything all at once, or even before she gets her period. It's a learning process, as we said,
and a responsive process to her body and
what works for her. And I think one other really important thing to mention to our parents is helping your daughter to understand that what works for you, or what devices you use to when you have your period, or how your body responds to your period might be completely different to how her body responds. And I think sometimes as mums, we kind of go, well, this is my experience and this is how I do things, and we either would like our child to do something similar to us, or we think that they're going to naturally do the same thing as us, or what works for us is going to work for them. And so being okay with the fact that maybe it could be a very different experience for the two of you. And this is why the open communication is so important, because she might be experiencing something completely different. So give her that space to be able to open up and ask those questions, and then you can learn together and you can support her because you feel more comfortable to talk about it.
In the case of some of our parents, sometimes they're like, oh my God, there's this new thing, I had no idea, and she's using it and I'm going to use it too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Happens with my mum still. She's like, what? Oh my God, I'm going to get some of those. So
exactly.
They might teach us some stuff as well. Young people teach us all the
actually
time.
It could actually be something really fun for the two of you. So open up, get comfortable with it, and let us know how you go.
Absolutely.
If you as a parent have any questions about supporting your daughter before she gets her period, or if your daughter's already got her period and you want to be able to offer her more support and you've got questions, please let us know. We'd love to be able to support you through this with your daughter. All right,
Good
thanks
luck.
guys. Bye.
Bye.